He's the Dalai Lama, Hall of Famer Peter Gammons from the Major League Baseball Network, back on the show. Pete, let me start with a question that was suggested to us. Who will be more disappointed if they don't make the World Series, the Oakland A's or the Detroit Tigers?
I think the Detroit Tigers, because they they should have been there last year. I mean, Max Scherzer, Game 2, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 13 strikeouts. He goes out, the bullpen blows it. Ortiz hits the grand slam. Game 6, they take him out with 2 outs in the 6th inning with a 2-1 lead and an absolutely dominating performance, and the bullpen blew it again. I mean, they should have been in the World Series last year. Now they add David Price. I think that it would be even more of a crushing disappointment because they are so good, because they have such a great player to build around in Cabrera. And Dombrowski's moves have been so good. The one thing, and it still remains there, because we've seen Joaquin Soria really struggle with, 9 hits and 5 runs in an inning and 2/3 since he came over. If something happened and they lost in the bullpen again this time, I think that would be really disheartening. It would be disappointing for Oakland because Billy's really rolled it out there. I mean, he's going to lose Lester at the end of the year, and he's a master at finding Stephen Voits to play left field against right-handed pitching and things like that. But I think it would be a big disappointment, but I don't think it's the same as the disappointment because we've been going since 2006 with the Tigers thinking this might be their year, and it hasn't happened yet.
Would you rather have the best player in baseball, the best manager in baseball, the best GM in baseball, or the best owner?
Well, the only thing is that I think the connection between general manager and owner is so important, that relationship. I would say the best owner, followed closely by best general manager. I do think that one of the biggest things some of my best friends who are general managers say this all the time. The most important thing a general manager does is not only evaluating talent, but first and foremost is managing his owner. And that's a crucial part of being able to run the business efficiently. I think Mike Ilitch is very easy to manage up because he loves his city so much. Lou Wolf was a great guy, but I think Billy Beane is a master of managing up, just as I think Ben Cherington in Boston has become a master of managing up because he has no ego. Therefore, he always makes it so that the 3 owners are the stars, which they love.
He's Peter Gammons, Major League Baseball Network analyst, joining us in the show. How many teams do you think have legitimate chances to win the World Series?
I would say, I think the Nationals, if they can ever get over their weirdness, it always seems like Friday the 13th, with the Nationals. It's an odd team, but they have the talent to do so. I think the Dodgers clearly have a great chance to do so if their bullpen holds up. I'm not going to bet against the Cardinals getting there because I think getting Lackey, it's just watching him pitch these last 2 years, where his velocity is essentially the same as it was in 2002, makes me think, this is a guy that started the clinching game of 2 different World Series 11 years apart, and he can do it again.
Well, he better, because they certainly they gave up some items there to get him. So they're banking.
I agree. I'm actually a huge
I don't
Joe
like
Kelly
that deal.
fan. I might be the only guy who is, but last year I said the thing on how I likened him to Tim Hudson. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but I think it can.
All right. So aside from Cardinals, Dodgers, Nationals, any other National League teams, and then we'll get to the American League.
I don't think so. I think that they're the most logical. I just don't see it coming together enough for the Giants. I'd like to say the Giants because I thought before the season they did, but their flaws have never quite been eradicated. And I look at the American League. I mean, I think certainly Oakland, Detroit,
Angels.
I'm not so sure about the Angels. I like the Angels a lot, but I'm not sure they have quite enough pitching depth to do it. I don't think anybody can come out of the East and win it. As much as I love the Orioles, and I tell you, I thought that getting Andrew Miller was huge because I don't know of a manager who's better at matching up than Buck Showalter. And Andrew Miller, you have him and Britton in the bullpen. They can go left, right, left, right. They can dominate certain guys, and it'll be really interesting to see an Orioles-A's playoff series, ALDS, because the A's are built on platoons, left, right, all their splits and everything. When you've got two dominant left-handers like Miller and Britton, that could end up winning a couple of games in the last 3 innings and knocking the A's out of the playoffs before they even get to the ALCS in Detroit.
Does Derek Jeter's career end in a regular season game at Fenway?
I think it probably does. Dan, I'm sometimes amazed at how well they play no matter what. I mean, I have great respect for Joe Girardi in that I think that he's gotten so much. That they had the second-best record in the East last year, I thought was a miracle. And they've hung in. I just don't think they have enough to be able to get into the playoffs. But, of course, selfishly, I'd like to be sitting in my seat behind home plate at Fenway Park to see him leave the field for the last time.
How long have you had those seats?
That is being selfish. I want him to be – I mean, my heart, I want him to be in the playoffs.
How long have you had those seats?
25, 26 years.
What'd they cost you at the beginning?
$22.
What'd they cost you now?
A piece. And now it's $135 a piece.
For each game?
Yes. But I'll say this, the lobster rolls have held fast at $15 a piece.
Good to visit with you, Pete, as always. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, Peter Gammons, Major League Baseball Network.